again, just playing out unconsciously. And you're just self-sabotaging and suddenly procrastinating and never taking action and talking yourself out of things and hitting this glass ceiling because that's actually where it feels safe. Remember, like our unconscious mind, the greatest goal of it is to keep us safe. And it's kind of like this fear of the unknown. Welcome to Empower and Evolve, the vortex of growth that you have been looking for. I am your host, Kat Tunnyberg. I'm a mindset coach for female leaders, and I am committed to helping you cultivate the mindset shifts that generate you wild success. Each episode, we explore ways to tap into your true potential. We face the shadows that hold you back, and we embrace the journey toward your most abundant life. If you love what you learn here today, then I invite you to share this episode with someone that needs to hear it. Right, it's time to plunge in. Hello, my love, and welcome to the third episode of the Leading Through Fear series. I was thinking today which one of the fears I should cover next. And I knew I wanted to include the fear of success in at least one of these episodes. I was wondering whether it should be the last one or this one. And considering that in the last episode we spoke about the fear of failure, it actually felt natural to now look at the fear of success, which is probably the one that is nearest to my heart at the moment, because it's probably the one that I am still navigating my fear through at the moment. And this might seem very counterintuitive because you might be like, well, why would someone be afraid of success? There's actually so many reasons. And I need to remind you here that especially when it comes to the fear of success, this shows up unconsciously most of the time. Most of the time, this shows up unconsciously. And this one actually tends to show up for those who've already experienced some level of success in their life. So it's almost like this next stepping stone on your journey of really overcoming the fear and creating life on your terms and creating success on your terms and your way. And I want to share with you a story. I'm actually going to start with this story, and then we're going to get into more of the nitty-gritty of what is the fear of success and how to navigate it. If you've been around this podcast for a while, you know that one of my core wounds that I have worked through and I'm still working through is abandonment and the fear of rejection and deeming myself unlovable. So with that one has actually been an underlying tone for me when it comes to the fear of success. Because something I learned over the years is that people will judge you more for your success than they will for your failures. People love an underdog, someone who, is just pushing their way through and they're trying to do their best. But just wait until you actually create success, and suddenly people will hate you. Well, not hate you, but they will judge you and they will say terrible things about you. They will love you if you're the underdog, but if you become successful, they will judge you. And more people will leave you when you become successful than they will when you stay the same. Which is probably one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn on my business journey. And I see so many women go through this, and I've helped so many of my clients move through this. This one has shown up in so many different ways for me, but I recently wrote a post about this one. It was probably one of my first times when I experienced this. And again, like back then, I wasn't actually consciously aware that this is what was going on. But I remember it was like the end of the year of 2017. And 2017 was the year when I started my online business. And I had flown to Las Vegas to attend a conference And Tony Robbins was one of the headliners for that conference. I'd never heard of him before. I had no idea who he was, but he was my favorite speaker at that conference. And I learned so much from him. And that was my first time really experiencing personal development on this grand scheme and really kind of having my eyes opened to what is actually possible and being surrounded with other people who were successful and who wanted more and who were striving for more. And I remember just setting myself this really outrageous goal there. And I had no idea how I was going to like achieve it. And, truthfully, I still have not yet achieved this goal. Almost 8 years later, I'm still yet to achieve this goal, but I have faith that it will happen eventually. And there's been many lessons along the way. But the goal was I wanted to make $400,000 a year. I actually have another fun story to share about this one once I finish this story. I wanted to make $400,000 a year. And I was surrounded with people who had other big goals and big dreams and who also wanted to create epic success because they knew that the more financially successful they were, the more lives they will have impacted, the more freedom they will have, the more they will be able to give back and all these kind of beautiful things, right? And I remember coming back home and we were hanging out with some friends and it was the year end and they asked me like, "Oh, how was your conference? What did you learn?" And I was like so like stoked and on fire. And I was like, "Oh my God, it was amazing." And I shared a little bit about what I learned. And then I was like, and I set myself this goal. I want to make $400,000 next year. And I just remember my friend looking at me and being like, "What do you need that much money for?" And the judgment just went straight through my bones. And I remember feeling ashamed for wanting more. And I started to think about all the other times in my life when I had been told that having money is bad and being rich is bad, etc. And looking back now, I know that that was one of the moments when I subconsciously decided to self-sabotage myself from my success in order to belong, in order to stay with the community, which is wild. And this has still shown up for me over the years so many times, so many times. And this is why this is the fear that is most nearest and dearest to me because I am still navigating that fear right now. And I'm really like leaning into my support networks and really being picky around the people who I let into my life to ensure that the people around me are also big dreamers and I can confide in my dreams with them because the average person doesn't get it. Like they don't get the big vision that I have for really helping women create success financially and personally. And I want women to have money. Like I actually want to help women create six-figure and above businesses because I know that money in the hands of good people can make a difference. That's the mission that I'm on. And I want women to create that success on their terms with resting their way to success, still taking action, but making sure that they look after themselves and prioritize themselves. Like that's my big freaking vision. I want women to be so freaking wealthy and financially independent and for them to make lots of money so that they have the freedom to make any choices that they want to make. Like that is my freaking big vision. And I'm on a freaking mission with it. Anyway, little side caveat here. Like as soon as I set that 400K goal, I was like, oh, actually, this makes me think of something. So I kind of like had set that 400K per year goal aside until January 2024. And I was like, this is it. Like last year was the first year I hit six figures in my business. Let's go this year. This year's the year I'm going to make 400K. And I don't know, like I'll probably do a series on manifestation here at some point. But, you know, with manifestation, sometimes we have to be really careful with what we wish for and how we say it. The more specific we can be, the better. With money, this is a complete little side caveat, but I feel like this is being channeled through and someone's going to get value from it. With money, if you're in a committed relationship and you guys share your money, you become this kind of financial duo. And it's not so much about, what you will be making alone, but it's really about what you guys can create together as a unit. So I had set this goal at the start of 2024. This is going to be the year I'm going to hit 400K. And I was like so certain in it. And I didn't personally. I actually just maintained my business, stayed just above 100K again in 2024. But then I was in Australia in November, and one morning it freaking hit me. And I was like, oh my God, I may have, I may not hit 400K on my own this year. But if I add up my husband's income from his business, and if I add up how much we make from our Airbnb, and if I add my business, we have made over 400K this year. And I was like, that's insane. Like, that's just insane. And I was like, there we go. I manifested it, but I wasn't specific enough because I didn't say that it had to come from my business. So I manifested it as a family unit. So, side caveat, become specific with your manifestations. Anyway, let's come back talking about the fear of success and what it actually is, because it does come across quite counterintuitive. And this is probably one of the fears that I find is the most subconscious for most people. They're fully not aware that this is even playing out. But the fear of success is this emotional barrier where you subconsciously avoid or sabotage your own success because you are scared of the consequences that that success might bring. And that can stem from a variety of sources, whether that is having to change who you are, having to have like increased expectations on you. So this can, for someone who, might be a solo entrepreneur and eventually comes to hiring a team, like that can be scary because then you have to make sure that you have enough work to provide for your team because it's not just your life that depends on it. And then you can unconsciously self-sabotage. Then there's also the pressure to maintain success. Like once you have hit a certain lifestyle, like you want to stay at it and you don't want to lose it. And then finally, like the potential impact that it has on relationships, because we got to remember that as humans, we are deeply social. Like we want to belong. It's one of our key needs as humans is belonging and really feeling like we're part of a community. So considering how many people judge you for your success and for your wealth, it makes sense that there's people who are afraid of their success because it might mean that they won't belong anymore. And I know that that is one of my core ones when it comes to fear of success. The fear of being left behind and not belonging. And especially, I have been judged as well by people who I deemed friends for how much money I make. And it's really sad, but what can we do? And there's many examples of fear of success. So this could be maybe you are someone who has excelled really quietly, and then you have this fear of achieving visible success because then that can mean that you'll have other people placing up expectations on you and you don't know how you can fulfill them, or you don't want other people to come and suddenly use you because of your money, etc. So then you might subconsciously stop putting effort into your work to avoid the spotlight and the pressure that comes with it. Or maybe you are afraid that your success might alienate you from your friends or your family who are not on the same path, who don't get you. And then you may hold yourself back from pursuing more opportunities for growth, or even you might like hold yourself back from maintaining your current growth in order to maintain your relationships and avoid the potential of jealousy and isolation. Like that's me. That's how fear of success shows up for me. Then there's also the fear of visibility, like the more successful you become, the more visible you might become. And then there might come judgment with that and people hating on you and internet trolls, etc. And then like having to hold that and like being able to handle that pressure. There's so many different ways that the fear of success can show up for you. And again, just playing out unconsciously. And you're just self-sabotaging and suddenly procrastinating or never taking action and talking yourself out of things and hitting this glass ceiling because that's actually where it feels safe. Remember, like our unconscious mind, the greatest goal of it is to keep us safe. And it's kind of like this fear of the unknown. I believe I've talked about this many times before on this podcast, but the fear of change. Because our unconscious mind deems any change, even positive, as dangerous. So it will hold you back from creating that. So if you are someone who experiences fear of success, first of all, let's again bring it back to basics. Like it all starts with awareness. Like once you realize that, oh my God, I do these things. Like anytime I set myself a big goal or I start to advance and I start to have success, I then self-sabotage. Whether that is like manifesting through procrastination or suddenly turning down opportunities or not putting full effort into your goals and into your business and into your dreams. Whatever way that is, self-sabotaging is manifesting. That might be one of the ways that is actually showing up as fear of success. And then stress and anxiety could be another one of those ways where this internal conflict between wanting to succeed and fearing the consequences can actually lead to heightened stress and anxiety. And again, you may even not even know where this stress or anxiety is coming from. And then this strain can affect all other areas of your life, including your physical health, your relationships, your overall well-being. And suddenly you're just like, no, I can't do this. Oh, I'm going to have to change. I'm going to have to like turn it down and make myself small and keep my goals small and la, 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 la. And the fear of success can also be reinforced by limiting beliefs that you hold about yourself or even your capabilities. So if you're someone who has the imposter syndrome, it's also highly likely that you will experience a level of fear of success because you don't believe that you have what it takes. Or maybe it's like that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not lovable. Like these can all be playing into the fear of success. And then because you have these internal unconscious beliefs, they create this self-fulfilling prophecy where your fear prevents the success that you're actually able and capable of achieving. So the fear of success is actually one of the most common things that I help my clients with, both in my one-on-one work and even in what I am teaching inside the Liberated Woman Mastermind, which is my business mastermind. Because we want to work with your nervous system and your body to help you overcome this. So there's different strategies that we can implement, and one of my favorite ones is actually like energetic work where the somatic belief audit, where you can see like where's the resistance. And I teach you all of this inside my Liberated Woman Mastermind, which is going to actually open the doors again in March. So I'll pop the link to the mastermind below, to the waitlist, so you can add yourself if you're interested in it for when the doors open in March. But yeah, the somatic belief audit and seeing where the resistance actually is in your body and being with it and witnessing it and allowing yourself to move through it. I also teach you techniques on how to rewrite your limiting beliefs inside the Liberated Woman Mastermind. And the other way that you can actually start to help yourself overcome the fear of success is visualizing yourself holding the success and really visualizing yourself being able to manage it and hold it, and like visualizing people around you and really allowing yourself to feel all the positive feelings of you experiencing that success. Because the cool thing is with visualization, when you combine it with really like powerful emotional work and emotional feelings, is your body doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're imagining. So the more often you can drop into this visualization and really feel it as if it's already there, your body is going to be getting used to that feeling and that feeling of success being safe. So then you will stop self-sabotaging yourself as much. And finally, it's also like just, allowing yourself to set goals that are achievable and just slightly out of your comfort zone. This is something that I've learned from one of my teachers called the manifestation sweet spot, where your goals, like you want to have big goals, but you also want to make sure that you still believe that they are achievable, so that you can slowly edge your way towards these goals so that they feel safe, instead of putting your nervous system into a full-on fight or flight response because your goals are way too big and you don't actually believe that you can achieve them right now. So those are some of the main ways to overcome the fear of success, is really working with your nervous system, being with the resistance, reminding yourself like what is actually true, allowing yourself to witness what is coming up for it, doing subconscious rewiring of the limiting beliefs, visualizing the success and really feeling the feelings of being able to handle that success and overcoming any fears that might be associated with it. And then making sure that you set goals that are in your sweet spot where you actually believe that they're achievable, and you keep edging your way so that your comfort zone, your familiar zone keeps growing, and you're actually comfortable with more and more success and able to handle it more and more. And the final piece actually here is starting to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with expanders, people who have big dreams as well and are doing great things and who can show you what is actually possible. Like, I love working with expanders. Like, I generally hire my coaches that are just a few steps ahead of me so that I can see them succeeding. And then because I can see them doing it, I then know that it's possible for me as well. So I generally work with people who have achieved what I want to achieve in a way that I want to achieve it. And I allow them to become an expander. And I also seek out places like masterminds where I can connect with other entrepreneurs that also have big dreams. Hint, hint. You can join the Liberated Woman Mastermind and be in a community of other women who want to create change, who are here doing their soul's work and who want to get paid from doing their soul's work. If this resonated, if you love this episode, share it with someone, share it onto your socials, send me a message with your biggest takeaway. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll catch you next week for the final episode of Leading Through Fear. Thank you for joining me on the Empower and Evolve podcast. I hope that today's episode has sparked a new insight, or perhaps reminded you of your own power to manifest change. If you found value in our time together, I invite you to subscribe and share this podcast with someone who might need a little reminder of their own magical power. It would mean the world to me if you could take just 2 minutes to review the podcast and help it reach more people. And remember, the journey of transformation is ongoing, and sometimes the most powerful step that we can take is to simply pause, breathe, and realign with our deepest intention. Until next time.